Welcome to Prime Luxury. We all know that doing bad things is wrong, but now it's clear that the payoff is pretty massive. There are people in the world who have made so much money through the underworld that they could start their own army. As you're watching this, you probably already have names popping into your head as to who will appear on the list of the richest. These are the top 10 richest criminals of all time. 10. Joseph Kennedy, $400 million. Yes, he's that kind of Kennedy. He didn't look like he was much of a criminal, but it turns out he was one of the most notorious criminals of all time, using his connections and his wealth to increase his net worth by millions during the Prohibition. He sold bootleg alcohol to people who weren't allowed to have it, and it's said he even had a woman raped so he could frame someone else to get rid of the competition. He was close with crime lords and bosses from some of the most notorious crime families in the world, and he would have been worth billions today. 9. Meyer Lansky, estimated net worth $400 million. A Polish Jew born in the Russian Pale of Settlement, Lansky immigrated with his parents to New York's Lower East Side in 1911. By 1918, he and the American gangster Bugsy Siegel were running a floating cramp game and then graduated into highly lucrative auto theft and resale. In the course of the 1920s, Lansky's gang branched into burglaries, liquor smuggling, and other rackets, and came under the aegis of crime boss Giuseppe Massaria. Lansky and Siegel also had developed a squad of professional murderers for hire, the prototype for the later Murder Incorporated, headed by Louis Batchelor and Albert Anastasia. Lansky became a naturalized citizen in 1928. Known less by his actual name than his nickname, the mob's accountant, wasn't exactly on fine terms with the IRS. He made his millions in the 30s by running illegal gambling rings across the country. He worked closely with the most famous mobsters and mafia members in the world, and he still has millions hidden away even after being gone more than 30 years. Lansky was a Jewish immigrant from Poland who would make a fortune of gambling, both legal and illegal. Lansky would join notorious gangsters Charles Lucky Lasano and Ben Bugsy Siegel to run a gang that would be known as Murder Inc. Lansky would later turn to focus on gambling, setting up operations in Florida, Las Vegas, and Cuba before the Cuban Revolution. In 1982, Forbes would name him as one of the 400 richest people in America. Lansky would be indicted for tax evasion and fled to Israel. He would later return to the U.S. to face charges and was acquitted in 1974. Lansky would die a free man in Miami at age 83. 8. Frank Costello, $1 billion. Frank Costello was an Italian-American mafia gangster and crime boss. During his life, he ran one of the top and most powerful crime organizations in history. Before his death in 1973, his empire was generated a revenue of up to $60 billion. However, his net worth of $1 billion, he is one of the richest criminals in history. Frank Costello was born in Cassano allo Ionio, Calabria, Italy in January of 1891 and passed away in February 1973. He rose to the top of the organized crime in America and controlled a gambling empire while having political influence. Costello was known as the Prime Minister of the Underworld. He led the Luciano family, which was later called the Genovese crime family. The Lucianos were one of the 5 families who operated in New York City. He was introduced to gang activity at a young age after boarding a ship to the United States in 1895. He worked for the Morello gang and met Charlie Lucky Luciano and hit it off as friends and partners. In 1961, the United States Supreme Court upheld a decision that stripped him of his U.S. citizenship but set aside a deportation order. Frank Costello passed away on February 18, 1973, at 82 years old of a heart attack. 7. Joaquin Loretta Guzman, El Chapo, $1 billion. El Chapo Guzman is a Mexican drug lord who ran the logistics for the Gondola and Sinaloa cartels. The cartels dealt mainly in cocaine, but some heroin was produced in Colombia and delivered to Mexico. He became an expert at organizing planes, boats, trains, and trucks to carry drugs to the United States and Europe. When the cartel's top leaders were arrested, El Chapo took control. In 1993, El Chapo was arrested in Guatemala and sentenced to 20 years in a Mexican prison, and in 2001, he escaped after bribing several guards. Following his escape, American law enforcement placed a bounty of $5 million on him, but he managed to be on the run for more than a decade. In 2014, he was arrested again, but he escaped again in 2015, only for him to be recaptured in 2016. El Chapo was regarded as one of the most powerful traffickers in the world, and in 2003, the mafia boss was crowned Mexico's top drug king, With a net worth of $1 billion, he is the 7th richest criminal in the world. 6. Griselda Blanco, $2 billion. Griselda Blanco was a Colombian drug lord of the Medellin cartel and a frontier person in the Miami-based cocaine drug trade in the 1950s. She was said to have been responsible for over 200 murders while transporting drugs from Colombia to New York. Griselda Blanco died in 2012 when she was shot and killed at the age of 69. Her nicknames were La Madrina, the Black Widow. She was named because she had like 3 husbands that died, and the Cocaine Mother. However, she is the 6th richest criminal in the world and has accumulated a net worth of up to $2 billion before her death. 5. Adnan Gogoshi, $2 billion. Adnan Gogoshi was a Saudi Arabian businessman and one of the richest criminals in the world. He is known for the extravagant life he lived and also his many huge business deals. Adnan Gogoshi was an arms dealer and served as the head of the Triad International Holding Company, a multinational private investment corporation. In the early 1980s, he was listed as one of the richest people in the world with a net worth of $4 billion. He also got him the nickname Great Gatsby of the Middle East. However, come 2022, he is the 5th richest criminal in the world with a net worth of $2 billion. 4. Carlos Leder, $2.7 billion. Carlos Leder is a German-Colombian drug dealer and one of the richest criminals in the world. He is quite popular for running a massive cocaine distribution network near his own private island in the Bahamas and working with other big names such as Pablo Escobar in the drug industry. Due to a large number of crimes, he became wanted and was later arrested and jailed by the United States. Fortunately for him, his sentence was reduced, and now he resides in Germany after completing his sentence. Having accumulated a net worth of $2.7 million, Carlos Leder is considered the 4th richest criminal in the world. 3. Leona Helmsley, $8 billion. Leona Helmsley was an American businesswoman who is popularly known for her oppressive behavior, earning her the title Queen of Mean. She is known for being mean to her family, employees, and even friends. In 1989, Leona Helmsley was investigated and convicted of federal income tax evasion and other crimes. With her accumulated wealth, she was able to make up a huge net worth of $8 billion, making her one of the richest criminals in the world. 2. Pablo Escobar, $25 million. Pablo Escobar of Colombia is quite popular for his criminal activities in the world and is regarded as the most notorious drug lord. He was the controller of the Medellin cartel, which was responsible for importing billions of dollars of cocaine into the United States. Pablo Escobar was known for using his wealth as a bribing medium to officials so as to carry out his activities unhindered and protected, and he has the culture of having officials who won't take his bribes killed. Very ruthless. With his net worth of $25 billion, he was named the 7th richest man in the world, and he is also the 2nd richest criminal in the world. In 1993, Pablo Escobar was killed by Colombian forces with assistance from the United States after he escaped from a Colombian prison. 1. Armando Carrillo Fuentes, $25 billion. Armando Carrillo Fuentes, popularly known as the Lord of the Skies, was the head of the Mexican Juarez cartel. He was an extravagant mafia that controlled over 22 private 727 jet airlines and other private planes he used for importing cocaine. The mafia boss would import drugs from Mexico and Colombia and smuggle them into the United States. He was named by the DEA as the most powerful drug trafficker of his era. Unfortunately for him, and fortunately for others, he died while undergoing plastic surgery for an appearance altercation in 1997. Before his death, he was estimated to have a net worth of $25 billion, making him the richest criminal in the world. Do share with us in the comments what are your thoughts about these criminals and money they had made. Thanks for watching.